So what training should you be doing with your staff on a regular basis? And that is one of the questions I always get asked. So I thought I would do a YouTube on it. Hey, I am Sarah from The Den, and I am a specialist in helping dance, theatre and performing arts schools, but also children's activities providers to grow their school, but on their terms. So they're giving them more money, more time and more headspace in their business and in their life. So let's get into it. What training should I do with my staff? If any, should you be doing any training with your staff? Because most of your staff are probably going to be freelancers. So the answer to that is yes. Yes, even with freelancers, you should still be doing training. Because if you're teaching in one room and you've got a teacher in the other room and their style is completely different to yours, and I don't just mean style as in tap, modern, jazz, street and all that, but their way of teaching is completely different to yours. And sort of goes a little bit against the values of the school, you're going to hit problems. They're going to go clash because the children go into her class are going to get a very different class experience to the people coming to your class. And ultimately, it is your brand, your values, your way of working that is being marketed and is being put out there. And when you're not in alignment with each other, that's when problems can start to occur. And they will occur, even if you don't think they will, they will. So it's really, really important that you get these freelancers on board with your values and your ways of doing things. Because if they hand the children over different to you, then there's potentially a problem because they're not doing it in your system. And maybe your system is the system that you've written into your safeguarding policy and that you've realized that that is the best delivery process to protect the children. But they do it their way, not your way. So you have to make sure that they are on board with all of this, which is why I have a 15-step hire process for staff from when I ran my school. And I would never deviate from it. And the one time I did, I had a problem. So I used my 15-step hire process. And then the teachers went through a thorough onboarding process as well. And that onboarding process did involve things like the handover procedure, the meet and greet, the health and safety, the fire regs, where is the first aid kit, how do you work the database or the register? What about the risk assessment? They are all things that this new member of staff needs to know to do their job fully and properly, okay? So training your staff is absolutely crucial. So how often should you train them? Realistically, on the onboarding process, 100%. There needs to be training there. But then after that, realistically, anywhere between 2 to 4 times a year, minimum being 2. I mean, if you are able to say, look, every 6 weeks, all your staff happen to be in the same building at the same time, you could say, look, every 6 weeks, we're going to have a short meeting versus if you can only, if it takes a wing and a prayer and a letter from Santa to get them all in the same room together, which is often the case with freelancers. I mean, you've got to try and book this date about 4 years in advance and have it, etched into stone for it to stay there. If it's hard to bring them all together, then maybe you're lucky if you're going to get 2 in. But there is always Zoom. You can always, do it online or, take half of them and then take another half of them. I know it's your time, but you've got to try and pull them together at some point. But if you can do every 6 weeks because they're all there, then short and sharp every now and again, let's just touch on one little thing versus a 3-hour or an all-day extravaganza. Then you've got to do sort of what works with your staff. But meet, you have to, without fail. So what sort of things should you do your training on? Well, I've sort of touched on one. Realistically, that's the rules, the regulations, the terms and conditions, the health and safety, all those sorts of things. That's an absolute must. There are things like your values. That's a good one. Your values, your rules, the expectations, retention. Some of these can be all thrown in together. They don't have to be specific, separate trainings. If you have a preschool class, that's always a really good one. You get all the preschool teachers together and they do a skill share. They do an ideas share. Or I do this as a warm-up, or this is a great name game, or this is a great exercise to bring the concentration back. You know, those sorts of things. Because sometimes, you know, especially if you teach preschool a lot, you get a bit like, oh, I've done this exercise for 10 years. Children won't have seen it for 10 years because those 2-year-olds are now, you know, they're now 12. So, but maybe you feel like you're getting a bit stale. So just having that little bit of input would be amazing. A show one is imperative. That's such an important one if you do a show, that you bring all the team together. I call it the show showdown or the staff showdown, so that I get them all in one room, or you take them away, you know, into a hotel, and then you have food for them. You know, if you really want to push the boat out, take them away for a weekend and have a full-on intensive. But getting them all on the same page for the show. What music are they using? What are their costumes? Who needs cuts? Who needs support? Who needs this? Who needs an idea? It just helps bring all the show together. If you have teachers that do all your competition teams for you, that is a very good training as well, because it's just very specific on, right, on the next competition season, what are we going to be doing? Where are we going to be going? What comp should we do? And you're getting those teachers' input, because that's valuable. You know, those teachers have got something to share and to give, and you hearing their ideas really makes them feel valued and understood and feel like they're contributing to the success of the school. So listen and ask them. You can do lovely team building ones, fun ones. Take them out. Take them out for a meal. Take them to an escape room. You know, do that sort of thing. That's always good. Yeah. So there is lots and lots and lots of training that you can do your staff. But the most important thing is that you do it. Absolutely. All right. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.